As Israel's war with Hamas enters now its third month, our next guest is writing about the emotional toll the news is having on just about everybody. Professor of organizational psychology at the Wharton School, Adam Grant joins us now. He's a contributing opinion writer for the New York Times. His latest piece is titled, "That Numbness You're Feeling? There's a word for it." Adam, great to see you. I want to read a little bit of the piece. You write, quote, "In mid-October, a few days after the attack on Israel, a friend sent me a text from a rabbi. She said she couldn't look away from the horror on the news, but felt completely numb. She was struggling to feel even the tiniest bit useful. What can I even do?" Many people are feeling similarly defeated. Many others are outraged by the political inaction that ensues. A Muslim colleague of mine said she was appalled to see so much indifference to the atrocity and innocent lives lost in Gaza and Israel. How could anyone just go on as if nothing had happened? A common conclusion is that people just don't care. But inaction isn't always caused by apathy. It can also be a product of empathy. More specifically, it can be the result of what psychologists call empathetic distress, hurting for others while feeling unable to help. I think just about all of us have felt that to some degree, and you do feel it when you're reading it and you're watching it and you're thinking about the people we saw in that ad, and then you sort of feel helpless in some ways. So what's a good way to deal with all that?
Well, Willie, I think empathy is challenging for a lot of people because what it leads you to do is to feel other people's pain. And when you're hurting and you have no way to help, the only thing you can do really at that point is withdraw. And over time, that leads people to look disengaged. It leads them to seem burned out. I think a better option is compassion. And a lot of people use compassion and empathy interchangeably, but they are not the same. Whereas empathy is feeling somebody else's pain, compassion is seeing their pain and then trying to figure out what you can do to support them. So instead of saying, "I feel for you," it's, "I'm here for you."
Mm. You know, let's revert back to empathy for a minute. Years ago, when I'd write a sad story in the newspaper about something that happened to somebody, and you'd feel an immediate sense of empathy from some people. But after a while, after years of doing it, I came to the conclusion that empathy is a little like money in a savings account. We only have so much to withdraw. And what happens, do we ever get to a point, in this tremendously sad story about the hostages, do we ever get to a point where there is nothing left in the tank, nothing left in the bank?
I think it's happened to all of us, Mike. I think that empathy is in some ways a renewable resource, but it can be drained very quickly, especially when it's coupled with that sense of helplessness in this time of what's been called permacrisis by Mohamed El-Erian and colleagues, right, where it seems like there's one massive problem in the world after another. At some point, you just don't have the energy to care about every issue and every person who's suffering. And I think that's where we need to turn and say, okay, you know what, I can't absorb everybody else's emotions as my own. What I can do is try to figure out who are the people I know who need my support and try to show up for them. And even if I can't make them feel better, I can at least make them feel seen.
And that feels on the local level, but when it's something that's happening thousands of miles away and you hurt for all the people you see, you hurt for innocent civilians being killed, you hurt for Israelis who were attacked in their homes and in their beds on October 7th, you feel like, well, I don't know who to help. Well, it turns out here in the United States, there are plenty of people who need your support, even if they weren't directly impacted by what happened there.
Yeah, I think that's such a crucial point. There's a psychologist, Susan Silk, who writes about this idea of thinking about the circle of concern. So there are people who are immediately affected, the direct victims in Israel and Gaza. But then there are also people who share their identities, who have common group memberships right here in the U.S. who are feeling that sense of threat. And so I think those are the people that we want to offer comfort to, who are often suffering in silence.
When does helplessness turn into guilt?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think it often goes the other way. I think that people feel guilt and they want to act. They don't know what they can do. They feel like social media is a hornet's nest. It's also just, donating to charity is sort of a drop in the bucket. And so then they feel like they failed to repair the wrongs that have been done. And at that point, they start to feel helpless.
You write, your small gesture of kindness to someone who may need it won't end the crisis in the Middle East, but it can certainly help someone else. That's good advice, not just for this story, but for so much else that's happening in the world.